Hello, survivors, and welcome back to Dr. Alejandro's lab. Today, I am here to test some more of the perks in the game and see how they work. I was told by my friend Jackdaws of Midgard that the lower tier wrenches are actually getting them more materials from wrenching vehicles than the higher tiers or even increasing salvage operations. So I want to test it out. For now, I have 15 vehicles hanging out in a row. I'm going to do 5 of each, put the materials in the chest, kind of use that to get a view of where things are. And sorry if there's some extra noise in the background. Doggo is sitting next to me on the ground, playing and chewing on a toy. So if there's any random squeaks, it's him hanging around. But yeah, I'm going to wrench apart 5 cars each with tier 1 wrench that is doing 40 block damage, a tier 6 doing 56 block damage, and a tier 6 impact driver doing 88. And we're going to see how that affects it. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and max out salvage operations and kind of see what happens. So I'm going to get to wrenching now, and I'll show you what the results are after this first batch. Okay, so I finished doing all the wrenching now. I did it in 2 different batches. The first box was no salvage operations. The second box was salvage operations 5. I did put it all the way up. I did, again, 5 with the tier 1 wrench, 5 with the tier 6 wrench, and then 5 with the tier 6 impact driver. I combined it all in here. Now, there's always going to be variance with what comes out of wrenching. With harvesting, there's always some variance with it, especially with cars and such. So I put it all into one chest, and the general idea is looking through these. In reality, these should be relatively similar in the amount of supplies we're getting. And then these 3 boxes should be about double what's in these boxes. So let's take a look first at the first row, which is no salvage operations. So we got 2,700 gas, 279 iron, bunch of mechanical parts, some electrical parts. So we can see a lot of different things. We did get 2 batteries and an engine out of those 5 cars. But in general, these numbers should be, there's good, again, going to be variance, but should be somewhat similar. We got a lot less electrical parts, but we've got 3 batteries instead. We had more oil there. Looks like we have less iron, less scrap polymers. Less springs as well. Less springs and these. Less gas. Let's see, what do we got here? We have 4 brass radiators. We only have 1 here. Again, there is always variance, but we did get 1 more battery than over here. But is that really making up for the amount of lower materials we're getting otherwise? Take a look at the impact driver. Smaller amount of gas. We're actually getting good springs, good short arm pipes, good scrap polymers. And this also has 3 batteries and an engine, like the tier 6 wrench did. This is definitely a lot higher than the tier 6 wrench was. But again, it's really hard to tell. They are somewhat similar. But this one itself is showing that the amount of materials we're getting from here, I think is... Alright, click the wrong button. Is, I think, similar enough to what we have here. There are differences, some things more or less, but I think it's in general relatively similar. But let's now take a look. So yeah, it looked like the tier 6 wrench got less, but it's hard to tell with only 5 cars. 5 cars gives us some information, but not quite enough. You need to do a much larger batch to kind of take care of some variance there. But let's look at the salvage operations 5. So again, so these should be about roughly double. Roughly double. So we'll take a look in here again. See what we're getting there. Take a look here. A nice chunk more gas. Similar amount of iron. 3 batteries. It doesn't... Some things are kind of doubled. Doesn't seem like we're getting that close to actual doubling, though. A lot of things are similar, or even some of them are less, like less iron than we got before. Then here, not anywhere close to double the gas. Similar number of parts in terms of engines and car batteries. It doesn't feel like double there. I don't know. Let's check here. So we get an idea of what we got there. Let's take a look in this one. So now we're getting a lot more gas. This, besides iron again, iron is also still low. But here we got 3 batteries and 2 engines. So that does take up some of the loot pool. But overall, in general, yeah, that's looking... Iron, again, you're not seeing really an increase in iron from putting up in salvage operation, but the rest of the parts, I think you are seeing an increase in. And let's finally check the impact driver ones. So we see what we got here, 260 iron, 1 leather. Alright, so we got an idea what's in there. Take a look in here. Yeah, it's kinda split because it is random, but we are definitely getting a lot more resources from Salvage Operations 5. So there doesn't seem to be a... my friend Jekto's Midgard was doing this testing. He was doing a little bit more cars at a time. But yeah, I'm not seeing a huge difference in the loot quality between a tier 6 impact driver and a tier 1 wrench. So I'm not certain if there's... I'm not really seeing a reason. Jackdaws was saying because of the amount of hits, it was giving him less resources. I'm not fully seeing that, and the salvage operations does seem to be working. We at least see that it's not working for the raw iron, but it is working for the parts. All the other parts that come along, we are getting more, approximately double. It's really hard to tell again, because it depends on the weights between the different materials. I don't know 100% the weights between the probabilities of getting specific materials and the amounts of each, but we are seeing approximately double. So that is still working. I'll run some more tests on my own, but yeah, in general, I'm not seeing a huge difference between going from a low tier, tier 1 wrench to a tier 6 impact driver. It seems to be giving us relatively similar materials, which is what we expect. Going up the tiers with harvesting weapons doesn't increase the harvesting amount, it just increases your harvesting speed by being able to do more damage. That's what it is in the code. All 3 harvesting tools have the same harvest amount, so it makes sense that they're getting similar numbers. But yeah, this was a little test with salvage operations to see if anything changed there, if using different tools really changed what you were getting. And from what I'm seeing now, they are approximately similar to each other, at least when it comes to wrenching these cars. Not necessarily certain about everything else, but I have a lot more tests and experimentations I want to do. We're going to be testing out a lot of the different perks, making sure they're working the way they're supposed to. And we'll keep doing more of these videos just to show off more information. I hope you all enjoyed, and hope to see you all in the next one.